Have you read a story in the Draoithe Saga and come away with a classic case of immersion after effect? Let me guess, there are questions which remain unanswered even as the magic expanded, adding another layer to the dream. The grand desire to turn the page to discover what happened next ended with the last leaf turned. If you're asking where the remedy for the book hangover is, you know the answer: read another story. But you aren't ready for the next tale, not yet. The dust needs to settle before you pick up the next volume. So you have found your way here. You aren't alone. Even the author can't get enough. As you hear this, Ophelia writes on. But allow me to offer you a possibility, a reflection on the tale you recently finished, and a way to revisit the story to ease the story blues. Welcome to the Draoithe Saga After Party. Warning, spoiler alerts ahead. Turn back now if you wish to read the story blind.
Have you ever, found yourself totally hooked by a story where myth and reality just blur together? You know, where this intense desire kind of fuels an inescapable destiny. What if those old legends weren't just stories, but actually shaping a world that feels as vivid as one of your own dreams?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
All right, let's really dive into that whole idea.
Okay, so welcome everyone to the deep dive. Today, our mission is, well, it's a journey, really. We're going to explore a pretty unique set of source materials. It's this blend of paranormal romance and urban fantasy that you might not expect.
Right, and our main source for this deep dive is a short piece, really punchy flash fiction. It's called Inamorata Succubus by Ophelia. But here's the kicker, the really interesting part. This isn't just some standalone thing. No, it's actually like a little window onto this much, much bigger, really expansive universe. It's called the Draoithe Saga.
Exactly. And our promise to you listening is this. By the end of our chat today, you'll have a much clearer picture of this, well, pretty intriguing world.
We'll unpack the surprising bits about the characters, the magic system, the rules.
Yeah, the very specific rules about the romantic stuff. And we'll keep it engaging, not too overwhelming.
Right, you'll get not just what happens, but why it matters in this whole fantastical setup, how it all connects.
So let's start by stepping into that bigger world first, the Draoithe Saga, because the source itself calls it a dream to live for.
Okay, a dream to live for. When we say saga here, most people probably think of those huge epic stories, right? Like the old Norse tales, where everyone's journey builds this massive history. How does this saga capture that same feeling, that heroic achievement and dramatic history vibe?
That's pretty much exactly the feeling it's going for. It is this grand narrative chronicling heroic achievement, dramatic history. Very much like those medieval prose narratives or the old Norse, old Icelandic stuff. It's a big account, unfolding not just as one story, but like an ongoing chronicle, told through the eyes of, well, everyone involved in creating it.
And this world being a dream to live for? That sounds almost, philosophical. What's the actual purpose, the driving force inside this dream place?
Oh, it's definitely purposeful. Deeply so. The characters in the Draoithe Saga, they aid in the fight to restore the magical balance of the dream, one couple at a time.
One couple at a time. Interesting.
Yeah. It's a world where, myths, legends, and fairy tales walk among the strange and wonderful. And the whole point, the central drive, is bringing back that essential magical balance.
One couple at a time. Okay, that leads right into a really key concept, doesn't it? This whole fated mates idea.
Absolutely fundamental.
So it's not just like a romantic side plot. It sounds like it's literally the engine driving the magic restoration for the whole universe. Yeah. Does that add extra pressure or purpose to these relationships?
You nailed it. It's way more than just personal romance. It's foundational. The sources say characters often find balance in a life mate, and the magic from the past lives again. So it implies this destined connection so deep that it literally has magical consequences for the whole dream realm. These are relationships with, let's say, cosmic weight.
Okay, so if these fated mates are bringing balance back, what's the big story? The main plot of the saga itself?
Well, the central narrative is all about founding this immortal kingdom in the Keen Deal.
Keen Deal.
Yeah, Keen Deal. It's a specific, ancient, magical realm within this universe. And this kingdom is set up specifically to combat those responsible for unbalancing the magic of the dream. So it's a big story of restoration, of defense.
And where and maybe when do all these incredible magically charged things happen?
So the main time frame is given as the year 0416X, which within the world seems to mark a significant period, like a new era starting.
Okay.
And the main location. It's described as an eerily familiar yet magical realist, Tyler, Texas.
Texas.
Really? Yeah. A modern setting, but just shot through with magic. But it's not just Texas. Other kingdoms get involved, interact, and it mentions cameo appearances of characters from other tales are common. It really highlights this huge interconnected universe.
That lays out the big picture really well. And thinking about that huge world, it makes me wonder, what kind of stories are these? You know, the genre, the source material is pretty upfront about it.
Oh, it doesn't shy away from it at all. It calls them steamy hot, wickedly delicious paranormal romance, magical realism, and urban fantasy stories.
Okay. Steamy hot. Got it.
Yeah, and crucially, it includes warnings for a mature audience,
Okay.
explicitly mentions adult themes, fantasy violence, and different or explicit sexual situations. So yeah, definitely stories for adults.
Right. So with that big, steamy, magical world as the backdrop, let's zoom back into our specific deep dive today. Inamorata Succubus. Flash fiction, you said. Sounds like it just drops you right in. What's the main idea of the invitation here?
It absolutely does. Throws you right in. Inamarata Succubus invites you into a whirlwind magical connection between an incubus demon and a firelight gifted human woman.
Okay.
It apparently draws inspiration from those dark fairy tales of medieval Europe, and it gives you this glimpse into the, quote, business affairs of Asmodeus Asmodai and his demon horde in the Keen deal.
Asmodeus Asmodo. Sounds like a major player.
Seems like it, yeah. Especially in this particular story.
So two main characters then. First, this incubus. He sounds like, well, problem, a big, destructive, lonely problem. Is there any depth to his loneliness, or is he just, a bad guy?
He's definitely shown as destructive, no question. The source calls him a miserably lonely incubus demon whose search for a mate to ease his suffering has left a path of destruction in his wake.
Yikes.
Yeah, villagers cower in fear as their young women fall victim. He's painted as a mad monster who grows weary of his lonely, immortal existence and just destroys lives trying to end that loneliness. Apparently, he even turns to a demon lord from the netherworld for help.
But that core loneliness, the suffering driving the destruction, that suggests maybe something more complex going on inside, right?
I think so. It hints at it, definitely. It's not just mindless evil, perhaps.
And then there's her, Tintean, human woman, but clearly special. You said firelight gifted and crafted for this. Does she have any choice in this, or is she just like a pawn for Asmodeus?
Tintean is definitely unique, described as a mortal woman gifted with the magic of firelight, a powerful lure to draw men to her as if they were moths circling a flame.
Like a moth to a flame, literally.
Pretty much. And yes, she's not there by chance. She's an exotic creation crafted from Asmodeus Asmodai's demon harem, and she has this incredibly specific, dangerous mission: to tame a savage, out-of-control monster.
The incubus.
Right. Ravaging the defenseless people in a remote region of Europe during an unspecified medieval time. And the story poses the question directly: will she sacrifice herself to save others, or become just another victim? That frame suggests her agency, her choice, is actually central to the tension, despite where she came from.
Wow, talk about high stakes. Okay, so this encounter between them, she's designed to lure him in, right? What does that actually look like? How does it play out?
So Tintean is basically a living lure. Her magic is trained to trap a single destructive force. And she just steps towards him, even though she knows what he is. Her desire outweighed all fear.
And him? What's he like, physically?
The description is pretty vivid. Not human, but a most gorgeous male specimen. Hard muscles, an angular face with bright hazel eyes. And get this, slightly pointed ears that gave him an exotic appearance.
Okay, so classic, dangerous, but attractive type. But she knows he's dangerous. Why isn't her behavior different? Why isn't she running away?
That's one of the really fascinating bits about their connection. Her knowledge of his need altered nothing about her behavior because, and this is key, the source says, the danger in him held the keys to a lasting peace.
The keys to peace in danger.
Yeah. It's like his nature, which is to master his victims with sensual grace, is something she's not just aware of, but maybe drawn to. As if he's the ultimate challenge, or maybe even a necessary evil for some kind of greater balance. It's complex.
And it's not just about attraction, is it? There's this element of sacrifice, a specific kind of exchange going on. It sounds like a really dark deal, but maybe it mirrors that whole balance theme from the saga. Like, even this destructive guy has a specific, maybe painful counterbalance.
Exactly. That's a great connection. Tintean, having apparently suffered delicious pain, edged with pleasure, to prepare for meeting a man like him.
Whoa, okay. Prepared how?
Well, it says she was trained in Asmodeus's harem. She's basically been turned into a weapon designed to stop this deranged serial killer incubus.
Right.
And she willingly offers herself up, opens her mouth to allow him to feed on their energy. She sees him as the drug she'd learned to chase. She gives him everything he wants for as long as he could manage. But with this understanding, this condition, there had to be a balance. And there's a specific reward if she survives. A single bite and drink would be enough to claim her reward.
A single bite and drink. Okay, that's a very specific, very loaded kind of deal. So what happens after this intense encounter? Does she get her reward? Does the monster finally find some peace?
Well, the outcome is apparently quite rare, which says a lot about the saga's themes, I think. The source notes that rarely did an incubus allow his lover to become his succubus.
So that's the reward, becoming a succubus.
Seems to be. But if she proved worthy, immortality and a mate too sexy to exist would belong to her.
Immortality and a mate too sexy to exist.
Yeah.
Okay then, and the aftermath, does he change? Does she?
So the incubus rises, satiated, his strength restored, and his eternity secured. Poof. A millennium of loneliness slid into history.
Sure like that.
Seems so. He looks at the woman, Tintean, whose eerie glow had entranced him, and he recognizes the human female existed no more.
She's changed.
Completely. He now craved her energy and desired more of her enchanting firelight in a way he desired nothing in 1,000 years. So, yes, she's transformed, but his desire for her, now that his basic primal need is met, it shifts into something else, something more.
So she's transformed. She got her reward, sort of, but what's the cost? The claim. Sounds like there's a steep price for this new existence.
Oh, definitely. There are fresh fang marks on her throat, physical sign of the change. And the text says, whatever she longed for no longer existed. Yeah. And he claimed ownership of her soul. She would now satisfy his appetite forever as an incubus's concubine, basically suffering in their places as a living sacrifice so that no more women would die. It's a dark bargain, like you said, a transfer of suffering almost.
But then there's a twist, right? After all that darkness, all that sacrifice, it hints at something like a new beginning.
Yes. And this is where you really see the deeper themes shine through, I think. Despite the, darkness of the whole deal, the incubus feels tenderness, fierce protectiveness, and furious possessiveness. He realizes he now owns something more precious than his life.
Tenderness from the mad monster.
Exactly. And the story ends with this really striking image that kind of cements their new bond. An incubus and his succubus Inamarata step side by side into the new dawn and a fading legend. This transformation, it really highlights a core theme of the saga, doesn't it? That balance isn't always, light beating dark. Sometimes it's about dangerous energies finding their proper, maybe intense counterpart.
Wow. Yeah, that is a lot packed into just a flash fiction piece. So, okay, connecting this little story back to the big picture, the Draoithe Saga, what does this specific tale really show us about the saga's main themes?
Well, what's fascinating, I think, is how this super short piece, it just powerfully demonstrates those central themes. Mm-hmm. The fight for balance, right? The power of fated mates, even in this extreme form. And that complex interplay between light and dark, sometimes within the same person, contains transformation into a succubus. It connects directly back to that whole goal of restoring the magical balance of the dream, but in a really unexpected and incredibly intense way. It shows that balance isn't always neat or pretty,
Definitely not pretty in this case. And the author, Ophelia, she says something really interesting about the whole thing, doesn't she? Something that kind of underlines how immersive the saga aims to be.
She does, yeah. Her own words are pretty explicit. It's more than a story. It's an experience. Welcome to the dream. And this short tale, it perfectly captures that immersive quality. It just pulls you right into the dream, makes you feel the stakes, the weird connections, even in just a few hundred words.
And then there's that about the author section. It's almost like a little riddle, isn't it? A bit playful, maybe meta. Makes you stop and think.
It really is. It just says flat out, she does not exist.
What?
Yeah, and describes the author as the product of someone's imagination, which invites you, the listener to kind of think about how an author who claims not to exist can still create these incredibly vivid, dreamlike worlds that feel so real, even with all the magic and demons.
Huh. That's clever.
It's a neat touch, right?
Yeah.
It sort of underscores the whole nature of the dream within the saga itself, this world born from imagination that somehow becomes undeniably real for the characters and maybe for the reader too.
So we've done this deep dive into Inamorata Succubus, seen its place in the bigger Draoithe Saga. We've explored this tale that mixes dark fantasy, really passionate romance, and this underlying quest for magical balance, all centered on these extraordinary, almost unavoidable connections.
Yeah, it's a story where these really destructive forces find their match, their balance point. And these seemingly impossible unions end up leading to a new kind of peace, a very intense kind of peace, but peace nonetheless.
Which leaves us with maybe a final thought to chew on. If these characters in the story are destined to find their fated mates to restore balance, what does it actually mean for us to find our own balance? In a world that often feels pretty out of sync.
Good question.
Could things like, enduring sacrifice or maybe really unexpected connections, could those be the key to peace? Even for the most, let's say, destructive parts of ourselves or the world?
It's definitely something to think about. We'd encourage you listening to maybe consider those implications: desire, destiny, the sheer power of connection, and how you think about your own dream of life.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for your support. For more, visit opheliakey.com. Welcome to the dream. Sincerely. Okay.